Corey LaJoy is a freak. Look at this. This is just disturbing on so many levels. All right, we're here to do the weekly Shane Van Gisbergen recap. We now do this on Mondays because the Sunday race takes priority. And also, I was at the track yesterday. I was at the Circuit of the Americas. Got to do some coverage there. Got to, follow the race along. Took some pictures. Actually talked to Shane Van Gisbergen before the race. That was neat. But hey, here we are for the post-race. We're going to do a quick recap. I only got to watch the race this morning or this afternoon, and I didn't do the normal go on his radio, go to the HBO Max live stream. I instead just watched the Fox broadcast, the TV broadcast that was provided, and SVG, as expected, was up front at the road course, and that made life easier for this. But yes, we have to analyze this tweet here. So Shane Van Gisbergen is like the only driver in Cup who does the heel toe method. If you're a Shane Van Gisbergen fan from Australia and New Zealand, you know how this works. If you don't, basically, he brakes with his right foot, and when he brakes, he actually uses the clutch with his left foot, and he throttles with his right foot. I'll try to get a video. If I don't have a video, sorry, you can Google it. I believe in you. But it's the heel toe method. And every time someone uses heel toe in NASCAR, because everyone's a left foot braker, everyone freaks out. And they get a foot cam on it. Everyone's like, wow, it's the greatest thing ever. And yeah, when you watch NASCAR for a lot of years and you use the both feet and stuff, and then you see a guy using the clutch and going, I should have just used my arm. That was so much easier. It's kind of like, whoa, that's pretty neat. But yes, Corey LaJoy tweeted this in the middle of the race, and Shane Van Gisbergen himself. This is look, it's actually Shane Van Gisbergen responded to this unique tweet. I don't even know what to call it. I don't want to look at it anymore. Okay, Shane Van Gisbergen's day. The number 88, his first real shot on winning. So, Shane Van Gisbergen's day. He started this race in 6th place. Let me double check that. I got to go to qualifying here. Qualifying. Yes, 6th place. He started in 6th place in this race. Quickly was able to make his way up to 3rd or 4th thanks to his teammate Ross Chastain, who kind of spun out Chase Elliott. Anyways, SVG was able to make his way up to the beginning or the front of the field. Sorry, not the beginning. The front of the field. He took the lead in stage 1 from Tyler Reddick, the pole sitter. SVG was able to lead for the second half of stage 1. It's confusing in NASCAR, but we got our 3 stages. And at these road courses, we will see the leaders pit before the stage end. If you pit with more than 2 laps to go, so 3 laps to go or prior to that, you can come out still on the lead lap with fresh tires, and you will have track position at the beginning of stage 2. But if you stay out and you run those last 2 laps, you get stage points. You win the stage, you finish 2nd, 3rd, whatever it may be, and as a result, you got to restart 18th, 19th, 20th. You got to be back in the pack, and that's kind of what the payoff is. Do you want track position later, or do you want the stage points now? Shane Van Gisbergen and the 88 team obviously felt like they had a shot at winning this race, so naturally they picked track position. So because they picked track position, they ended up pitting with 3 laps to go in stage number 1, and they came out first of the guys who had pitted. And because of that, in stage number 1, they actually still finished 3rd. Only 2 guys stayed out, or 3. I think Chase Elliott also stayed out because of his lap 1 incident. But Bubba Wallace won the stage, Joey Logano 2nd, but Shane Van Gisbergen, 4 fresh tires, gets 8 whole stage points. That's another significant statistic to his name in 2025 that he has added to his resume. So he finishes 3rd in stage 1, picks up 8 valuable regular season points, and he restarts the next restart in the lead. Stage number 2, he had a really good battle with Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch was able to get a jump on him and was able to take the lead on a restart. I think it was this restart. But this is when we kind of started to figure out how the day was going to go for SVG. Shane Van Gisbergen's car in the long run, arguably the best car all day. He could go take the lead from Tyler Reddick. He could take it from Kyle Busch. He could go past whoever he wanted to, it seemed like. But it was those short runs. It was launching on the restarts. It was trying to make some passes in those first couple laps, and he was struggling the opening few laps of runs. And ultimately, that would be, I hate to say demise because he finished 6th ultimately, but it was his demise in terms of fighting for the race win. So he loses the lead on the restart, but he's still able to get it back. As I said, on the long run, he was able to pass Kyle Busch back after losing the lead. And then they made a pit stop. Same situation as stage 1. They want track position at the beginning of stage 3. And they actually come out. Kyle Busch and Shane Van Gisbergen side by side leaving the pits. I was watching it, looking up the hill at turn 1. SVG's pit crew looking up the hill at turn 1, trying to see who takes the lead. They have a great battle for a lap or two, exchanging the lead, going back and forth, and the TV cuts away. No one knows what's going on because the TV cut away for I don't know what reason. Anyways, Kyle Busch, as you can see here, was able to stay ahead of SVG for those last 2 laps of the stage. And SVG, though, still finishes 5th and gets 6 points. So he got 14 stage points today. Remember, really bad points week in those first 2 races at Daytona and Atlanta. So to pick up 14 stage points today, it's a really big deal. And we'll look at those point standings here in a minute. Stage 3. And this is where it started to, once again, I don't want to say unravel. Like, when I say unraveled, like, that sounds so bad. It sounds so negative. Like, and once again, look where he finished this thing. But it's the same thing that we talked about in stage 2. The short run, those first couple of laps. SVG, that car just seemed to not be to his liking or seemed not to handle it, or other cars were better at the beginning of runs, but as the runs went on, he was able to make up ground. But in particular, these first couple, I think it was this restart at the beginning of stage 3, that he restarted 3rd, and he had a really bad restart, and he fell to 7th or 8th. And at this point, when you're 7th or 8th, the top 4 run away, you're losing time, you have to fight people for position, you're using up your stuff, and you lose so much time that unless there's a caution, unless you run an alternate strategy, you're out of contention for the win. You can maybe fight back for a top 5, but in terms of the win, it's not going to happen. So that's what happens essentially. He falls back to 7th or 8th. He's able to make his way up to 6th or 5th again, and they ultimately run an alternate strategy. Everyone, Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, all these guys in front of him, they go and pit. SVG runs an extra 6 or 7 laps. They burn up the tires, use it up, and they go to pit with about 23, 24 laps to go. And they get their last set of tires, or they pit for the last time today or yesterday. Shane Van Gisbergen, as a result, he has fresh tires, and just a few lap tire difference this weekend made a really big difference. The tires were wearing this weekend. Christopher Bell had 2 lap fresher tires than Kyle Busch, and as a result, he was able to chase down Kyle Busch and essentially come back and win the race. Well, with 6 lap fresher tires, imagine what you could do. And here's what he could do. He starts making his way back up through the field. He fell back to 9th or 10th at the pit cycle because he had to burn up those tires. And, hey, he made his way up to 8th, 7th, 6th. And at the time of the caution, he was in 6th place. 18, 17 laps to go. There's a caution. There was a restart with about 15 to go. And this restart, this was his best restart of the day, I would say. He was able to kind of split the middle of AJ Allmendinger and someone else on the inside. But the problem is, you can go 3 wide on turn 1. You can kind of stay there for a bit, but once you get to turn 2, if you're on the outside, it hurts you. And so SVG goes from about 4th back to 6th. And at that point, there's too much space in front of you. If he had gotten to 4th, he had fresher tires than everyone in front of him. And as I said, those tires were such a big deal. that he could have gone up and he could have passed Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, William Byron. But as I said, unfortunately, he fell back to 6th. And then it got worse. I don't even know what happened. I didn't see a replay. I didn't see a video. But coming through 19 and 20, he gets, I don't know if he missed a turn, if he got bumped out of the way, if he clipped the grass a little bit. But all of a sudden, he goes back to 11th. And 11th was the worst. He ran all day. And this was with about 10 laps to go. He's running 11th. And that's race, essentially. At this point, you need a wreck fest to get to the win. But he was able to rally, come back, finish 6th. More significant statistics here. He leads 23 laps, so now he's led 25 total on the season. Picks up 14 stage points on the day. Coming back to the point standings, let's look at them. And we don't have to scroll that far this week. Last week, we had to come all the way down here to 34th. Thankfully, because he scored the second most points in this race, he's now in 18th in the point standings. He's got a top 10 to his name. He's got 25 laps led, 14 whole stage points, and he's only 8, I think my math's right there, 8 points below the playoff cutoff. Once again, it's race number 3. I don't want to be looking ahead to the playoffs right now, but that's the situation currently. Shane Van Gisbergen finishes 6th at the Circuit of the Americas. Yes, the expectation was a win. The expectation was to lead the most laps, maybe even sweep the stages and get a win. But once again, it's race number 3. It's a new team, a new crew chief, and the road courses are, the expectations, I should say, were that he was going to win. The odds showed it, but ultimately, sometimes the odds, they don't always work out. But still, as I said, race number 3, it's a great result. It's a 6th place finish. They led a bunch of laps. They were up front for a good chunk of the race. Just that short run speed kind of killed them. Those restarts where they kind of got jumped, didn't have great restarts. That ultimately cost them when it came to the final result of the race. But still, as I said, good result. Top 10, led some laps. But yeah, so I guess that's the end of this recap. Once again, I don't think that was as in detail as I have done the last couple weeks just because I didn't listen to the radio or the race recap, the radio recap video live stream thingy on HBO Max. But that is the SVG recap this week. Happy to be at the racetrack. Hope you guys enjoyed the videos and pictures I sent or put up above. I'm on so low sleep right now. Words are hard. I didn't even tell you what track we were at. Apologies. I could have done better this video, I'm sure, but Circuit of the Americas, road course in Austin, Texas. We did not run the F1 track. We ran an abbreviated track. It was 2.3 miles, which is equivalent to 3.7 kilometers. That's your basic track info. So, once again, SVG 6th at the Circuit of the Americas, scores 14 stage points, leads 23 laps, and gets his first top 10 of the 2025 season. We move on to Phoenix next week. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. And as I said, I'll see you at Phoenix.